A cenotaph for Canadian soldiers who died in Afghanistan is being rededicated here in Ottawa tomorrow. Back in May, the memorial hall where the monument is located was opened in a private ceremony at National Defence Headquarters. Only military and government officials were invited, no families of the fallen. The anger and outcry that followed prompted DND to plan another ceremony. This time, as many as 1,100 people are expected to attend tomorrow's service. And the CBC's Murray Brewster is here with more. Hi, Murray.
Hi, Vashi.
Tell us a bit about that controversy last spring and why it struck such a nerve.
Well, I think the handling of it was the biggest factor because the original ceremony being held in private, families not being invited. But more than that, I think there's a greater undercurrent for a lot of people who were involved in the Afghan war, from soldiers, but also their families. There is no public national memorial to that conflict, to this generation's conflict. No place for soldiers who fought there and lost comrades, but also families to go and mourn. And I think that the absence of that created and distilled a lot of anger. And hopefully some of that will be dispelled tomorrow. But one of the things I think you're also going to see tomorrow among the families is there is a sense that their sacrifice and the sacrifice of their loved ones is being forgotten because it's almost 10 years past the end of the combat mission. And Afghanistan is rarely talked about, and the delay in getting a national memorial put together, I think, has been something that has been hurtful. And the fact that it was this memorial, this cenotaph, was put behind a security fence and so much secrecy, I think that was part of the explosion in the spring.
And I know that you've actually seen it when it was in Kandahar. So what was that like? What makes it so special, and what were your impressions?
It is perhaps one of the most unique war memorials I've seen. It is a battlefield cenotaph created by soldiers. Now, in the military, when someone joins, it's not that they lose their identity, but service before self is the ethos. So their individualism is stripped away. And in death, when you see the photographs and how they're memorialized here and how they're etched in black granite, it's haunting because it brings back the individual. And it does it in a way that, and I've seen a lot of memorials from like World War I, World War II, where you just see the names. But when you see the faces, staring back at you, it reminds you of the cost of war, the individual cost. And that's why it is, the cenotaph is so close to the hearts of the families and the people who fought in Afghanistan.
Makes sense. Thanks, Murray. The CBC's Murray Brewster. So how important is tomorrow's rededication ceremony for families of the fallen? Do they still have questions over why and how the military mishandled the event the first time around? Sean Wilson is the brother of Private Mark Wilson, who was killed in Afghanistan in October of 2006. He joins me now in studio. Hi, it's so nice to have you here.
It's great to be here.
I really appreciate it. Tell me a bit about your brother.
My brother Mark. Mark was a lovable guy. My brother was an older soldier, an older private, shall I say. Mark didn't enlist until he was 35, but he was loved by the other privates and troopers, the young guys, 18, 20 years old, but very charismatic, very energetic, taller, thicker than myself. He was in good shape, but just a happy person. Involved politically, he loved following politics, and that's why he went into the military. It was post September the 11th that he dropped what he was doing in his life and joined the military at age 35.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
And what was his service like?
Well, Mark did his basic training. He actually left basic training as top soldier, and that's something at 35 years old. But he had something to prove with the younger fellas, ladies and men. But anyways, it was a short career because Mark went in 2003. He was shipped out 2006. So Mark originally went in, did his basic training. He was originally going to go infantry, but then he got a hernia as an older fella. But anyways, he then went with Armoured Royal Canadian Dragoons and moved to Petawawa, and he was a dragoon for over 2 years, and then he flew away to Afghanistan. Mark's one mission, his Why he joined is he wanted to go to Afghanistan. That was his mission.
What was it about Afghanistan?
Well, he wanted to help. He saw this as being needed. Canada being a NATO partner, as we all know, and when a country needs help, we're there. We all know Canada's history, but with Canada announcing its involvement, it was February of 2002 when we said, or actually it was shortly before that, but February of 2002 we went in. But soon as Canada joined this action, Mark joined.
How I know that you're here for a dedication, but
Yes.
but the original one happened, and my understanding is you found out about that on social media.
Oh, yes.
What was that like?
Well, that was back, it was May 13th was the original dedication here in Ottawa with the military brass and politicians. But it was 2 days later, it hit social media. And myself, and I would have to guess, most of the families who watch the news or they follow social media, it wasn't 2 days later that we saw this. But I vividly remember myself seeing it on social media and thinking, did we miss something? Did we miss an invite? But I read the article twice and I'm like, oh, no families were invited. But instantly on Facebook and other social media outlets, comments and Families of the Fallen, we connect together. We have a couple Facebook sites, but that's how we communicate, people across the country. But minute by minute, replies, comments, why weren't we invited? Did you hear? Did anyone hear from Ottawa? And it was very quickly that my brain came to, no one was invited.
And what was your take? Like, what did you feel?
Well, I was taken back because my first thought was, these are our family members, husbands, brothers, sons, mothers, daughters. These are our loved ones, and you would think, I know post pullout 2014 when we left Kabul, I was told by General Vance himself, great man. I was in Afghanistan in 2010. And General Vance put my medal on my chest, but I remember speaking to them about this because it was weeks before I was leaving. And I remember asking, and it was right at the memorial where my medal ceremony was, and I said, well, we'll see this again. He said, yes, you will. And obviously he was speaking ignorantly at that time, but he knew as well as myself that there will be something for our families post pullout. So that was 2014, and so we've been very patient. Year after year, there was families saying, when's this going to happen? When are they putting the memorial together? But anyways, get back to what you asked. I was shocked, and all I could think was, who made the decision? It had to be asked, should we invite the families? Someone made the decision and said no.
What do you think now that they've aimed to rectify it, that they are going to make it, going to have this ceremony, eventually make it public, that kind of thing?
Well, I think they did a lot of backpedaling. I do know that days after their dedication on May 13th, that they realized that this was a big boo-boo, to put it lightly. So I think, the month after, we received an apology letter, which was very nice. That was in June 24th, that came in. And then it was another month before they organized this rededication. But a lot of backpedaling. And it's sad because if they just did it the right way to begin with, none of that controversy would have happened, obviously.
I'm sure it's the backdrop to what's happening tomorrow, but I'm also sure that primarily you're going to be thinking of your brother tomorrow. What does it mean to you?
Oh, this means a lot to our family. Going to see the memorial as a family. I have my sister, my brother, my parents. So it means the world to me. But being with the families, we've met dozens of families over the last 13 years since we lost Mark. But it's just very consoling to us to be with all the families. And as I said a few minutes ago, I've been waiting and hoping for this day to come. And then when I saw it back in May, I'm like, oh, it's not going to happen. But as I said, backpedaling, couple black eyes. Excuse my terminology, but
now it will.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me.
Sharing your story, and especially thank you to your brother for his service.
Oh,
I
well,
really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video. Thanks for watching.